is, y'all? It is your old boy Pilk, and this is a video I've been trying to produce last night, but I had just way too many other things lined up, and we weren't really able to get it out. But I want to talk about Aisha here, because she is an absolute monster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I call up the correct team here, because I've saved these teams to make sure I have everything set up. Aisha absolutely shocked and astounded me with her run here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and build her up. Now, full disclosure, I don't have her maxed out. And the reason that I don't have her maxed out, while she is maxed limit broken, fully ascended, number one, I don't have all the CP levels in her. Her CP level is like probably mid-30s. It's not fully built up. Not only that, and that's like on average, like across all three, I might have one like high 30s, one mid 30s, one like low 20s. So it's probably like mid 30s ish, I'd have to say. Now, the other thing is, if you look at my team build here from the beginning, I am lacking both of the 20% water leads. I'm lacking them both. So simply put, I'm not going to be able to get out the kind of numbers that somebody will if they had both of the 20% assists. I said leads, I think. If I had both the 20% resistance and attack damage assists, but I do have the 15% assists. So we're going to go ahead and do a double SA here. Now, I want you to pay very close attention. The reason I'm going to use Haruhime is because Haruhime does a 120% buff versus Belle, who does a 100% buff. Now, I want you to bear something in mind here, okay? So we have strength up 50%, water damage down 50%. Or, I'm sorry, strength up 50%, water damage up 50%. Now, I've got to make a choice here, okay? Haruhime, she buffs strength and magic 120%. Belle, if I can go ahead and pull them up here, would buff water damage 100%, but I can only do one or the other on this run. And I could go out to a triple. For the simple sake of getting some good numbers on this run, I'm not going to do that. There is a way to get a triple on turn 6, but I haven't quite, like, for this team, I haven't quite hacked that yet. But let's just go ahead and do a turn 5 kill here and get this out. And I know you're looking at them going, they have half health. How are you do a turn 5 kill? Just wait. Just wait. This is absolutely nuts. Now, the other thing to bear in mind, and I want to make this very, very, very clear, okay? So, water attribute damage resistance 40%. All unit resistance 35%. I'm sorry, yeah, but, you know, they take 35% more damage. Guard rate, counter rate are all down. Physical resistance is down 40%. Now, these are not the maximum numbers for any of those debuffs. They're the max that I could fit on this team. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and slow this down, let these numbers come up, okay? Now, Haruhime is not going to produce damage. Haruhime is literally just here to buff this up. Pay very close attention to these numbers because they come very quickly. What you got, girl? What you got? That was worth noting she does have Insect Killer too, so her numbers are going to be beefy, but I think 5.9 was the biggest I've seen. I have seen, with this exact same team arrangement, 6.2 million. I want you to stop for just a moment here and ponder that. So let's see what the score detail were. So highest damage was 6.036. 6.0 million damage from an AOE unit. Now I want you to bear in mind here that, like, last year, getting 3, or like in the last, really like last year's anniversary, getting a single target unit to do 5 million was the end of the world. And AOEs were maybe producing, like, in the best circumstances, 1 or 2 million at the absolute best. Like, these are absolutely insane, ridiculous numbers. I would argue that any AOE unit that does 1 million plus is still an extremely substantial AOE. Now, to be fair, in full disclosure, you know, she does have Insect Killer, so she is at an advantage, and we do have, you know, water maxed out in the Familia, full level 40, so, you know, I don't know if it's a fair assessment necessarily, but it's the assessment we're going to make. And I want you to bear in mind, even though she did 6.0 there, there's more damage on the table because, as I said, I don't have the 20% assists. So we probably could have eked out a much, much, much higher number. Also bearing in mind, I didn't get Belle's 100% essay. That said, I'm going to try this team here. Now, reason we're going to do this. Now, this might take a couple of turns too if I'm complete, full disclosure here. Let's go ahead and call them up here. I've already got all my equipment on this team, so I don't need to worry about anything. The main thing I want you to pay attention with this team, okay? We have Belle, and yes, I know the arrangement isn't really designed to maximize the support on all my other units, and there's a reason for that. Because if I do, they will kill the foe before Aisha can get off her attack. But we got Belle in the front. He is going to drop, he's going to give us 100% water attack damage, versus Aisha's 50% that she did in the last one. We have Winnie on there. Winnie will get off her essay if we run this right. She will give us 50% single and AOE resistance. So she's the best unit for that particular job. I don't think we have a 60% yet. In fact, I'd be shocked because, 30% was crazy before now. Now we got 50% when she dropped. So we're getting her essay off probably turn 4. Get Philvis's essay off turn 5, and then we're going to work up to a quad. Why is Philvis here? Well, very simply put, she's going to drop water resistance down 50%. Remember, we had 40 before. So she's going to do that. Then we've got Kaguya from last year's event, actually. She's going to drop physical resistance down 60%. So in comparison to what we just did, we're not going to have the 40% across the board. We're going to have water down 50, physical down 60. It's a little bit more. It's not substantial, but it is a little bit more. Okay? We are going to have water attack damage 50%. Or, I'm sorry, 100% where we had 50%. We're going to have strength 120%, and single target resistance is going to be down 50%. If we could pull this off, these numbers should be literally groundbreaking for an AOE. I don't think, at least in my experience or my opinion, I've seen an AOE that can pull off anything remotely like this. So first things first, we're going to do Mingle here, because that's going to give us some HP regen. Actually, I probably don't even need to do that. The Dex and Agility would help that she's going to give us, because we're going to go ahead and do the 33% SAH charge, which does give us an HP regen here. And with Aisha, we will have to do Submersion, okay? This is really important. You know what? Just to make sure we don't do damage, I'm going to go ahead and just base Winnie out. We're just going to go ahead and do this without giving her a huge amount of other support. And I know you're kind of looking at this going, why are you doing it this way? Well, it'll make sense in a moment. Now, Winnie is very low level, so I've got to get her to survive to turn 4. So I have to have the Strength and Magic debuff on this unit, or they're going to kill her. They're going to kill her basically this turn. Remember, they get a big Strength buff on this turn, so I've got to do something about that. Okay? Now, I do not, and really cannot afford to buff the buff their debuffs. We basically have to let their debuffs expire. Sounds weird, but follow me. It is basically what we're going to wind up having to do. So we're going to go and just do base attacks from this point basically until we get Winnie's SA. Now, bear in mind, Haruhime is still going to buff all of our skills. So while she's going to buff our buffs, basically extend our buffs by an extra turn every single turn, that's because that's part of her extra action. So when we got off Dawn Wind, basically for the next couple of turns, that's going to be a thing. Now, I do have an SA here, but I've got to basically wait till Winnie's ready to croak. So there is the possibility you could spend this too early. Also bear in mind, notice Haruhime is healing her. Alright, so Strength and Magic down 40%. Will expire next turn. I'm going to go ahead and do her essay on this turn, just to be safe. Yeah. And then we've got to go ahead and do Dawn Wind again. Yes, we do Dawn Wind again. Okay. Now, we have to be careful with this because Winnie's is there for 3 turns. And Philvis is actually only there for 1 turn, which makes it a bit difficult to get hers, to get hers to work right. But Follow me. It's all going to work out if the numbers are right. Okay? So at the end of this turn, our debuffs, Strength and Magic debuff, will expire. Okay? So that's good news. So basically we need to just do this one more turn where we're not buffing the debuffs. Because if we do buff the debuffs, then, you know, we're basically going to go into overtime on this and probably not be able to make what we need to make happen. Okay? Perfect. Absolutely like the perfect scenario. Alright. So, now we want to make sure we rebuff that. And with Haruhime, we're going to go back in and do Blowing Wind, because that's going to be the debuff replication that we need. So, 1 unit resistance down 50%. Notice that is about to expire. If we don't do something about it this turn, it's gone. But Philvis has the Revolving Amulet on here now. So now that Revolving Amulet. So now that she's here, she's going to do her SA. But notice her SA is only 1 turn. So we really need to make darn certain that we're rebuffing that. So, here we go. Now, this is kind of that weird situation where we have to be really cautious about the damage we're producing because we're going to start hitting some of these units. I'm going to have to swap up who we're hitting here in a moment to make sure that we don't do anything too crazy. But debuff replication is going to be a massive point here. And from this point, basically for quite a bit of time, we're just doing base attacks and Haruhime is doing Blowing Wind. I got to make sure that Dawn doesn't run out. Wind Dawn is running out. But everybody's buffs should be good for several turns. Let's double check. Let's see. SA Gauge charge is there. That's going to be a valid point here. I need to make sure that the SA Gauge charge stays in play. And it looks like it is. Though Kaguya's not taking advantage. So actually, I think we'll be fine. We're going to play it a little cautious here. We're going to do Dawn Wind on this turn. But basically, we need to make sure that like, every turn after this, we're doing Blowing Wind. And that's just to make sure Kaguya kind of survives. Otherwise, and gets her SA Gauge charge. Otherwise, we could be in a world of hurt. Now, I want to emphasize, I know a lot of people are going to... whenever I do these damage tests, I always get people criticizing, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? What's going on here? What's this? Trust me. The whole point here isn't to produce like a crazy number at the end. Our number will pale in comparison. It'll be like 10 mil less than the number we got before. This is not a max number run. This is literally just everything I can do to give Aisha what she needs to produce the most insane damage that maybe you've ever seen on an AOE unit. I mean, just trust me, she's going to be wild. And not killing these guys is hilariously difficult when it gets, you know, about the time that we're doing our SAs. So, let's go ahead and go in here. Alright. Kaguya, do not die. Thank you, Haruhime. I need you to do that. I was actually quite concerned that Kaguya was about to kiss it. Alright, so Dawn Wind. There we are. Once again, got to make sure that everything is staying in play, that because our HP regen is another valid portion of this. Because remember, we got to keep everybody alive. And our foes buff their strength. We're not getting rid of the strength debuff. We're not debuffing their strength. I mean, we are, but we're not getting rid of the strength buff. So we got to make sure that we're just like playing it cool and getting through this with everything that we've got. All right. So I can do a couple of attacks here. Make sure we're all built up. I don't think this is actually going to give us anything, is it? No, hers gives us nothing. So I can stick with doing a base level attack with her. Bell, I don't think he needs his either. No. Strength, agility, and water attack damage 70%. And we really don't need the agility anyway, so I can just stay doing base attacks with everybody. Because the only thing that's really going to matter for the SA is pretty much her strength and her magic. Or, sorry, strength and magic. Her strength and her water attack damage. Yeah. So, yeah, let's soldier on. Hopefully we don't kill them. See, Blowing Wind is here. And we got 3 turns left on that. So, we're good. Here we go. Here we go. Alright, I'm going to target somebody else now. Make sure we don't kill him. End of this turn, we are going to get the quad SA. So turn 13 will be our quad SA. There we are. There are ways to get this faster, but not and support the team the way we needed to get these numbers off. So once again, I want to emphasize, I know what I'm doing. I'm aware that this is not going to produce a good number for my team. It's not going to be like, my highest score of the day. All we want to do is see what Aisha does. So 100% water damage, 60% physical resist down, 120% strength and magic, and Aisha's 80% per each water attack damage buff skill. Let's go ahead and slow this down one more time, and let's see what happens here. Now, hopefully we don't kill him. I think I've got the team built in such a way that we shouldn't. Yeah, that produced like nothing. Haruhime doesn't produce damage, so here we go. Let's see what she does. I'm going to watch her full essay just to build the hype. Let's go. All right. Her essay is absolutely beautiful, too. Okay. I think RNG did us dirty on this one. Let's see. So 13.9. Yeah. No, I've gotten much higher numbers than that. Much higher numbers than that. 11.6. I really expected more, I'm not going to lie. I've seen upwards of 14 mil, and I'm sure she's... And I've gotten up to 13 mil. I'm sure she's capable of more. I really feel like RNG kind of did us dirty. But I want to say this. That is the kind of damage when the Lingerie Tiona came out as a single target. And single targets always hit harder. That's the kind of damage she produced in Finn Record Buster. And we lost our minds. And I want to say this. If anybody ever questions why I say the Anniversary brings like a level of power creep and a whole new, yet basically meta to the game. To have an AOE unit with this much in them and a lot of damage still left on the table, I really feel like RNG could have done this. Because, like, this score right here is what I was really expecting out of the highest damage. I was expecting so much more. So maybe we, got unlucky with some of the numbers. The RNG rolls weren't terribly great. We could run this a few more times, but 11.6 mil is what I'm griping about. Yeah, it's hard to believe it. Even while I sit here and gripe that the RNG kind of didn't do us very well, I want to point out that whatever your perception of a good AOE unit is, this blows that entirely out of the water, I assure you. So I would love to see some of the numbers you guys can produce. Maybe even build better teams. Maybe you have the 20%, 20% units or something like that. Definitely post in the comment section down below. If you get something crazy like 15 mil or above, hit me up on Twitter and screenshot this. I'd love to see these numbers because this is absolutely insane. Now, to be fair, once again, this is not I'm not worried about this number right here. In fact, my best run, I only got like 7 mil there. But this is all about just the insanity of this unit. We got to try this with Osfi and Ryu and see what they produce, because they might be right up there as well. But that's the video, guys. Let me know, are you impressed by this? Or maybe you didn't max limit breaker and you're going, we've got to try her out somewhere that's not Familia Royale with these insane element boosts. But I mean, even then, I don't know, guys. I think she's just going to be crazy. Let me know your opinion. Like, comment, share. Catch you all in the next one.